Hello there, Apple Biteies. This is your Apple Bite, Rafael Tavares. And I know you're going crazy. You're like, wait a minute. We saw you at 12 o'clock, Ralph. What are you doing now at 11:35 or 11:40 now? Well, yes, today we got we had a special noon show, a noon lunch show, and now we have late night or late right with Ralph and Shadow Rabbit, or the Shadow and the Ralph, or whatever you want to call it. And let's bring in the Shadow so they know I'm not going crazy.
Well, I mean, if you're going crazy, let's ride that train all the way off the rails.
I just think that if I'm going crazy, I have good company. Exactly. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
I think that noon show threw me off.
Hey, man, you're a busy guy. What can I say?
Yeah, well, tonight we have a special night because we are going to be talking about writing with a bunch of special guys here. I have Enrique Lopez with us tonight, and he will be talking about his new Kickstarter that started like 2 days ago, right?
Yep, it started 48 hours ago, and we are right now at 68%. 68% and 179 backers. Hope somebody else backed. Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, so we're going good. That's great. So that means you're totally funded then, right?
No. It's 12,000 because it's a really big book. We can talk about it later, but we're doing well right now. The analytics say that we should fund. Not a problem.
Right, that's good.
We're looking good.
Well, you're going on a good rate, and you still guys got what do you got?
27 days.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time.
And you know how it is. People like put their save it for later, and they'll come in at the end and go like, "Oh, wait a minute, I forgot about this," and so do it then. So. But it's been a good.
That's how it always happens. People will go, I'll get this later.
Yeah, but and then you forget. But overall, right now we're really pumped, and I'm like really tired because I haven't stopped. It's like I was just on a show with the creator John Engelfield, and it was like really worked. It's just a great project, and nothing again. It's like everybody else is coming up now. You got the Pinguino's Revenge. By Robert Power, which is absolutely a fantastic piece, and they're funded.
Look, you introduced Robert.
Whoa! It's so good, it's him.
What's up, it was so funny. He said Pinguino's Revenge by Robert Powers. I'm like, well, Enrique just introduced him, so I'm going to put him on the screen.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, great. Brother. Well, how far are you? Well, you guys are fully funded, but you guys are how over now?
I need to look. I just checked. I think it's 126% right now.
That's awesome, man.
That's pretty good, man. And now that you guys are funded, what does this extra money start to pay for?
What I want to do is really start working on the quality of the book.
Right.
And do I have it here? I don't have it here. But I just got. I'll say it right now because I don't care because I'm so excited about it. I just had a guy build a case for the book itself. So if you pledged the Shogun tier, you're also going to get a hard wood engraved case.
That's the special thing you were talking about.
Yeah. What? Wait. I call foul, man. That's on my show. I have that too. Let's stop it right now. We're copying each other. But you know what they say? Imitation is another form of flattery, so I'll take it.
Well, you guys are both doing that Star Wars thing because they have the Sith and Jedi manuals that come out of those.
Yeah, that's it.
All those mechanical boxes, and they look all nice and.
No, because it's funny because who knows? Maybe you're doing it from the same supplier we're getting ours because they're made out of wood. It's like custom made, and they're really, really. Really nice. So for my book, so I mean, I imagine yours is going to be just as good.
Oh yeah, I know you're probably going to some special samurai Pinguino stuff happening there.
Oh yeah.
The nice thing is the book inside of these ornate, whatever they are, caskets that you've got them in.
Caskets.
Oh my God. There you go.
A little morbid, but I'll take it.
Hey man.
And now let's add more insanity to this by throwing in John Ottinger, whose Dwarves is on Comixology, and I feel like you're the senior man here.
I'm the senior. Oh, we're all in trouble. Yeah. You mean I accept just being old, but having any more knowledge, no. A lot of gray hair, though.
Well,
I
I can believe it, man.
Now that Robert mentioned that about the book, I'm gonna have to change my pledge. I don't think I qualify. I don't qualify for that one now.
Yeah, what
It's
level
funny.
was that? That's the Shogun?
Shogun tier.
Shogun tier.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, the Shogun tier.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
right.
I'm
That
gonna
is
have to sell some
exclusive.
sculptures so I can
haven't
get up to that
you
one.
haven't said this to anybody yet, right?
What'd you say?
Yeah, this is exclusive. You haven't said this to anybody yet.
No, yeah, this is no one knows about that. Well, they do now.
Yeah.
See, we bring you stuff written, people.
That's it.
What are they called? Radiacs? Oh, no. We'll have to figure out a name for the people who watch Writ.
Yeah.
Because I know what they are if they're watching the the Bit and Apple. They're Apple Bites.
Right.
Or like I like to say, Apple Bites.
Oh, do the writers. The writers sound good.
She said the writers sounds good.
I was gonna say Ritters, but yeah.
Oh, the Ritters. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, that's actually good.
Ritters. Yeah.
There you go.
Close to critters. Great.
Bunch of Ritters.
Oh.
I'm Ritlin. I mean Ritters.
Oh,
The Ritalin.
So it's funny because we're all in like a certain stage here on creating our comic books. I know that John's had his Dwarves book out for a while, and I like the aspect of where we're coming with these our stories, because I feel like everybody here is coming from a different point where in their writing. It's not the usual writing style. Most people are. Well, most writers write from just writing. I feel like a lot of you guys are more visual than the usual writers. Am I wrong? We'll start with Enrique.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you this. In my case, for me, it's not that when I need to sit down and write something, then it becomes like usually I go with inspiration and get one thing and from there the story. But when I have a target that I have to produce something, I always go with the visual first. I actually doodle out a lot of the action and everything the way I think it would flow, and then I sit down and write it. When, for example, for one of my stories in Not So Fair Tales, the Jackal story, I actually did not write it. What I did is I told John Mahler, who did the illustrations for it, I said, page 1, I want to see this kind of action. Basically, I want to see this here. And then page 2, we have this action. Page 3 is going to be this action. Pretty much like the old Marvel way. I told him, this is what I want to see by the end of this. This is where we are. And then once I saw his layouts, I'm going like, okay, now let me write a little more into it. And we condensed it. And then I wrote any dialogue and stuff that came up to it later. For another story like Socialis, that one was actually written all the way through as a script, and I rewrote that one about 6 or 7 times to get to the point where it was finally produced, because that one needed to have the pace, needed to have the where every moment had to happen really planned out before I started drawing it, because it was essential that I wanted it to have a certain emotions and pacing until it got to the end. So it really is more like, in my case, depending on the project, sometimes I'll do like visual first, other times I'll be like very focused and go, let me write it down first.
Well, that is completely different than when a lot of people do it. Robert, which direction do you go with it?
Again, like what Enrique says, it really depends on the project and where you're going with it. But for for volume 1, I wrote it as I drew it.
Nice.
So if I didn't like how something was looking, I was like, okay, I can rewrite this story to make it go here instead. So I was like correcting with every panel, correcting my my story, and I had an end goal in mind, mind you. So I was leading up to that, but I didn't know how long it would take, and I didn't think that it was going to take 8 issues to do it, but it did. But it did, and that was it. I completed it. And then for writing for volume 2, I actually went a different approach, where I actually wrote the story down
Ooh.
I got my blueprints down, got all my information that I needed to hit the certain key points, to develop characters, and to hit certain milestones so that the reader can grow with the character and understand what's going on, and they could even go back to like volume 1 and be like, oh, that's why that happened back then. Little things like that. And it helped a lot because I already drew issue 1 doing it that way, as opposed to writing it and drawing it on the fly. And it seemed to flow a whole lot better.
I have to admit, having read a little bit of volume 2, I can actually see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see the difference in what you wrote for the original Pinguino and what you're writing for volume 2. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I see where you're going with this. You feel the flow is a little different than with the first one.
Yeah, there's more care into the development of the story rather than just trying to come up with a really cool character that I could have fun with, something that I wanted to build upon more now so that I guess the intro story is out of the way. All right, we know about the character, we know everything. Now, where do we want to take him? I want to
completely agree. And you're right though. When you're reading volume 2, you're like, oh, that's where that comes from. Oh, that's where that comes from.
Right.
And the 0 issue that you worked on, the one that I read, is that part of the next thing, or is that like a special thing on its own?
Oh, that's part of volume 1.
That's what I thought, because that explains a lot. I love that. I mean, you notice I'm even saying what's in that.
Yeah.
Because I love how you sit there and you go, oh, that's what that is.
Right.
And if you want to know what it is, you better just like do the Kickstarter and see what we're talking about.
Go pledge.
So John, I feel like you're here in this direction with all of us. What's your writing process?
Well, I start off figuring out what the mini arc is of that issue. And then I start visualizing scenes. And I'll visualize a lot of times when I'm driving, I'll have a notepad, as scary as that sounds, next to me. As I'm driving, my left side of my brain's occupied. I'm seeing these fantastic scenes. And I don't know how they fit in, but I'll be scribbling as I'm driving in the fast lane, and then I'll think of some heartfelt scenes the next day.
In LA.
And I get all these pieces, and then I start arranging the pieces on how they fit in the story arc and have the key moments at the proper places. And then I roughly sketch it all out, very rough on paper. Then I lay it out visually still. I still haven't written anything, but the stories and the words are all playing in my head. And I lay out a few hundred pieces of rough paper with the story. And then I start moving them around to make sure they fit the story arc and throwing pages away. And that's kind of, I get flashes of these fantastic scenes or funny lines or heartfelt moments or this incredible machine. And then I'm like, well, what does that mean? And where does that fit? Maybe it doesn't fit in this book. It might fit in another one. And that's kind of like in college, I found a book in a grocery store on the guy who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles. And his technique for writing is he would do that on little recipe cards. He would just think of a scene, Spock and McCoy are in the elevator, ribbing each other. Then he'd put that in there, Klingons fall out of warp and start shooting at the Enterprise. Oh, here. And then he starts rearranging those, and then the story starts forming. And that's, I think, in the back of my mind all the time as I'm writing. So I get these flashes of this wonderful stuff, then I try to figure out what to do with it. And then I have an editor, of course, who brings it all back on the track and said, well, this is gold and you only have 2 panels on it. We're going to expand that out to 3 pages. I'm like, all right, that's a great idea. And this will throw away. And we start bringing focus to it and give it some direction. So that's kind of
That's
my
an amazing
process.
process. You know, one of the things that stuck with me, especially from the last interview we did with you, and you saw that because I saw my own water tower, and I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
epic. I can see exactly what he's talking about. I saw that water tower, and it just stood out, and it looked like it was about to come off the roof. One of the dwarves was about to come off the roof. You know.
That's how I started with that shape. Is I saw a water tower on my train ride, and so everything for the first year, I just did single pages of glimpses of this world with no story in mind. But I ended up with literally hundreds and hundreds of pages of glimpses into this world. And so I started understanding the world. Those are my sketches and my little backstories that may never be in the main one, but help me understand this world and the different cultures in it through some of those exercises.
I think that's one of the things I liked about this. Is one of the reasons I wanted to have you guys all here, because it's all different sides of writing. You know, even though you guys have a similar take on it, as you can see, you know, there's a difference between each one of you. And you know, I like this because when I picture my stories in my head, I see them as scenes, and then I'm trying to write that scene and make it come to life. So you know, that's why I feel like I am with you guys there, because you know, I'm kind of visual, but at the same time, I can't do the art aspect of it to go, well, this is what I'm seeing. You know, I'm like, I have to write the scene in order to make it come to life for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, something about driving brings the creative process out. Like I'll be going to pick up groceries and I'll be like, oh my God, it's an amazing idea. I need to write this down. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
It preoccupies the left part of your brain doing that simple mechanical function of staying in the lanes, and your right side is completely free, and the music playing and some of your visuals. Yes. That's how it is for me, and it just starts exploding with all these crazy, wonderful things.
Well, my daughters get annoyed with me a lot of times, and usually it's in the car, like you're saying. It's really one of those things, like, because they don't know how I do this, and it's like we're going past this old lady, for example. There'll be an old lady over looking across this bridge, and it's like, and they'll go, oh, look at that lady. Like, yes, because you see what happening is she's looking down at the water and feeding the ducks because she is missing her husband who recently died because he used to feed the ducks. So this is her way to get closer to him by doing this. And they're like, where the hell does this come from? It's like, and these is exactly that's the thing. They were telling me that every time they would notice, I would just pick these things up and just create out of the air. And I started doing it even at cons, offering like to people, I'll ask you like 3 or 4 questions and I'll make up a story for you in a minute or two. And I used to do that a bit because it makes you work on these ideas and try to keep it going all the time. You know, it's one of those things that many times for my kind of stories, they're usually come in from an inspiration from one moment, something. And I go like John says, he had all these pages of this world, yet he doesn't know where to go with it. In my case, I could say like for my story, Socialis, I had what I wanted to say about that down, but I did not have figured out how to get that story out into the world until I got invited to do the anthology. And they're like, wait, what a better idea, what a better avenue to do for this story. And it actually has worked out that way. But other times it's like, I'll have this ending and I'll go like, well, how do we get there? How does this happen? Which was the case with my horrendous story. It's like, I knew the ending. How do we get there? And then I play backwards. I go from the ending to the front.
Yeah.
And that's how
what makes sense. What makes sense? What could lead them to
that situation? Yeah. To the ending there and stuff. So, and sometimes I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, how often would you say you start that way? With knowing how it's going to end and then figuring it out?
I would say most of my stories are the end. Like the stories I did because I'm going to keep promoting it because we got to get it funded. Not So Fair Tales. All 3 of them, I knew the ending before I started it. All of them. Now, the thing was that because I knew the endings, I was able to adjust the second story, Takeout, because I was figuring out, wait a minute, I got similar situations, similar characters. No, we got to change it up. And so I went in a totally different direction after I figured out, wait, I got too many things that sound the same. So let me change it up. And it ended up being a lot better. The thing is that what I get frustrated is that I have these ideas and then I feel like my artwork is not at the level like Rob's or even in John's that I can go like, man, let me put this out there because I don't want people to say, man, the story's really cool, but man, this artwork sucked. Let
me tell you something. It doesn't matter what level of skill you are, your art, you're still going to think that. I promise you.
No, and it's funny how that happens really in reality, man. It's like
exactly
all the time. You go out there and you hear it, and I'm talking too much, so I'll just finish this real quick. Like right now, when we were talking on the show, the creator of Not So Fair Tales, he tells me, he left my story. Socialis is actually, I think, the next to last story of the book. And what happened? We lose John?
Yeah, I think he got stuck, frozen.
Oh, frozen again. And let it go, man. Let it go. Anyway, and then and he was telling me, it's like your story is not the best looking one because obviously a lot of people have great art, but it is definitely one of the better stories because it is so well created what you wanted to do for that. And he says, even though you may feel like your artwork wasn't good, it's good enough it doesn't distract from the story. And he says, it's always better to have a good story and art than a great art and a crappy story. So, so he says, you're doing fine. He loves it. So I'm like, okay. I mean, Ralf, you read it.
It was very good. It's interesting you say that because, in the comic industry, we run into writers don't mean any, the writers are a piece of whatever. And it's all about the art. So it's interesting that you say it that way because that's usually the case. Usually they go, "Who cares about the writer as long as the art is good?"
Unfortunately, sometimes you get that, and you may harp on that depending on who you want to look. You want to look at the big two. You want to say, "Hey, look at these guys," and you see it a lot. There's a lot of very beautiful pieces, and you go like, all right, so what, but it's one of those insecurities of us. I mean, all of us who are in this industry have these insecurities. Like, I wanted to make it as good as possible, no matter what. And sometimes I mean, my struggles for Socialis was so big that, I can make a novel out of what I had to go through to get to those 10 pages. And it's one of those things I'm like, it's really frustrating at times. It's really frustrating. So people like both John and Rob, who've been doing this for a long time and getting their stuff out there, I can't even imagine how much it must have hit the wall. At times I go like, oh man, what am I doing here? It's like,
that's why it took 3.5 years to get it done.
And it's so funny because a lot of people they look at you and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, sometimes you want to get it done right. You can get it done, but you want to get it done right."
Yeah.
Shadow, am I adding this now?
Which one?
Whatever I'm
the
looking
ones
at.
that. Oh, sorry, I was just backing the project.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw some stuff happening down here. I'm like,
got them
we're
loaded up
putting
too.
this up.
Yeah, put them up.
Okay, here we go.
For the record, I've seen all these guys' art, and it's ridiculous. Y'all don't have to think you're on point, but I'm telling you are.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh, you're looking at oh man, thank you. So if there's one story in particular there, that's the video. That's John.
Okay.
There's one art that is in there is by this gentleman called Cesar Gutierrez. He did the story with Brent Fowler. It looks like a freaking Studio Gilby movie. It is so detailed. It is so beautiful. You keep going down. It's the next to last story. I'm the third. I'm the second to last. He's the last. That was you would pass my daughter's one. The dress. That's my daughter's right there.
Oh, is it really?
Up there, awesome. The one with the Cinderella. Yeah.
Story. I read that
17 years old.
So
17
different.
years old, and she's already in a publication. I'm like, 17, I was still trying to doodle stuff, you know. So it's like that's hers.
Yeah.
I'll zoom in on that. No.
Yeah. So keep going down, down. Keep going. That's my social. That one right there. That one right there is absolutely fantastic. That's Brant and Brant Fowler and Lisa Moore and with Cesar Gutierrez. I mean, that is so. It's based off the lady in the shoe, the old lady in the shoe, and it's like you look at that art because you can actually go. If anybody's listening to this, go to the Kickstarter. They have there an options to say download a 40-page preview. You get that story in the 40 pages. Nice. You actually can read that one in complete form for free. And it's, I mean, that alone, I would have paid whatever, man, because it just blows me away. Blows me away, the quality. So that is really, I mean, even in the beginning, there's another artwork by these two gentlemen who are from Canada that they have this story that they're building up in their world of werewolves and stuff. It is beautiful. I mean, the artwork here is really good, you know. And the thing I like about being part of this is that they're all diverse. We're all totally different, you know. You go with my book. It's my first story. Jocko looks like a comic from Marvel and DC. Why? I got the colorist and a letterer from Marvel and DC to do it with me, so it looks that way. Other ones don't. The other ones are like, but Matt is very Looney Tunes and stuff. So anyway, I'm talking too much. Sorry.
I didn't know you lost
great,
John. John, you okay out there? Oh man. It's looking really good. The book's looking really good. I can see why you know, like, and when I read the stories that I read from you and your daughter, I love the fact that the twists you don't really see coming. And it's always important for me because I don't want to see the story coming. I want to be.
There are hits though. Yeah. I do play fair.
Yeah.
I do play fair. Now once you know it and you go back, you can kind of go like, oh,
I see it here and here and here. Yeah.
You can figure some stuff out. In the first two, like in Jocko and in Takeout, you can see stuff coming, you know, if you really pay attention. But Socialis is not. Socialis is like I don't want to give away. There is a nice ending and there's an interesting ending, but it's basically a moment I came out of all this situation in the world, you know, that we've been going through in our society lately. That's just and I look at it from the perspective as a son of immigrants and the things that are going on. And despite the fact that political and everything, we all differences, you know, this is something that was touching my soul. And I said, you know what? And the story came out of there. And I figured, how can I say it without being preachy? And I think that's what I tried. And I think I was mildly successful from what I've been reading. And I've gotten some great reviews from it. And it's like, it's so humbling because I was so scared about what people are going to think about it. And they really embraced it. And people have been able to understand what I'm saying without me coming out, because I don't come out and say it. This is what I'm talking about. You have to infer a lot and through these characters. And that's why I use these characters from Iron John, which is a fairy tale nobody knows about. I didn't even know about it. I had to look it up. And the idea is that I didn't want to use, like, for example, Cinderella, which everybody knows, and go like, oh, but then everybody's like, if I change the characters and do things people are not used to, they go like, well, that's kind of weird. These characters talking this way. So went with characters nobody knows, and gives me a little bit of free reign to work around it. So
that's cool.
We'll see. It's not as fun as a samurai penguin cutting things up, but
speaking of double samurai penguins,
you got that one loaded up? Okay. I had that one.
Oh, you got it? Okay, hold on. I can add yours faster.
No, that's why you got it.
There you go. I was going to ask you because, you know, one of the things that I like about Pinguino's Revenge is that, you know, a lot of the stuff, even though you should see it coming, you don't see it coming. And it's, I always find it fascinating where you can actually write a story. You know, you're going somewhere with it. You should know what's happening and how badass it is. Yet you're able to like keep it so that you know, it's still fresh and you don't see it coming. How do you feel like you're able to pull that off, Robert?
Well, I appreciate you saying that because before this, I never really wrote anything from I've written like short stories and stuff like that, but never like something to this caliber or so structured chapter wise, you know, something big like this. So I appreciate you saying that it's still, you know, like you think you know where it's going to go, and it does not go that way. And I try to write like that as I'm like, even when I'm drawing, I'm trying to think what's the most interesting way I can go about this. All right, now how can I throw a spin on that? You know, always try to do something just a little different, even though it's stuff that you've pulled from any kung fu movies and action movies and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Sonic the Hedgehog and Afro Samurai and Samurai Jack, all these different things that I've, you know, accumulated in my mind over the years, and just trying to pull really cool aspects from multiple areas and throw it all up in the air and see where it lands, and then be like, okay, I like that, I like that, I like this, we're gonna do that, but then we're gonna do this instead. You know, like just
Exactly.
So
I get you, and I like it, and you know, especially like, you know, here you go, you finish volume 1, you know, and since I get a preview of volume 2, I'm like, I loved how you're like, most people will be like, oh, I know where he's gonna go with this, but when you start reading volume 2, you're like, where the hell did he come up with this?
right.
You know, and I find that fascinating because, you know, I just like the aspect of being in a story and being surprised, or
Right.
or enjoying the story as you progress through it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to do for volume 2, well, volume 1 is more like almost first person in the sense of like you're going along with the story with Pinguino.
Mhm.
So you're experiencing what he's experiencing as you
Right.
go along with it in real time. And it's easy to write that way. You know, it's easy to write event to an event to an event and move on. But it's hard to like call back, bring things in from different
Oh
times,
yeah.
and shuffle things about a little bit with different characters and their experiences. And that's what I'm going to be focusing in on volume 2, when I expand on the world, expand on the characters, expand on the motives. Why they're still together, why they're still hanging out after everything is done from volume 1, you know? But for volume 1, like I said, I wrote it as I drew it. And the whole aspect of me writing it and drawing it was just, I wanted to make something cool, something different, something I've never seen before. I want a lot of gore. I want a lot of adult humor. I want a lot of adult language. I want something that I would pick up, that my 16-year-old self would pick up and be like, yo, this is sick. You know, so that's what I was going for.
And you did a good job because, you know, it gives you that flashback to those 80s cartoons. It gives you that flashback to the Turtles. It gives you that flashback, you know, but the good stuff, the cool stuff, the stuff that Eastman started to do with all, you know, when the, you know, the Ninja Turtles was a little more adult.
Yeah. I just hope that it doesn't go that way. Like if by chance Pinguino blows up into something more than I can handle, I just hope that they stay true to form and keep it gory, keep it bloody, because I think that's the charm in it.
It is.
If you want to call it charm, that a character like this could be so volatile, you know.
My man's even drinking out of a Pinguino coffee cup. I mean,
I love that cup, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
that is so cool.
And that's not part of the Kickstarter, right?
A friend of mine makes handmade mugs, and I had to make me one.
Cool.
So I see you have
Dope in all kinds of ways, man.
Earthworm Jim is my thought.
Yes, I loved Earthworm Jim. I love everything about that. Absolutely. Tenaple? What's the guy's name? The creator of Earthworm Jim?
Oh, I forget.
I don't remember.
But I love his stuff anyway. So.
But it's so funny that you know because of course we all got introduced to Earthworm in the video games. At least I got introduced to him in the video games. So
originally, Pinguino's Revenge was supposed to be a video game, but I don't know how to make video games, but I could draw. So that's why I did a comic.
I feel like it has the kinetic energy of a video game. So you know you feel it as you read through it. You go, ooh, who's gonna fight next?
Right, exactly. Challenge.
Conker's Bad Fur Day. You going for play that one?
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Oh,
it screams of all sorts of badassery. I mean, I'm super excited for it, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
John said he's trying to get back in, but he's having issues with his internet. Yeah, I'm trying to get back in. All right.
Unplug his router and plug it back in.
That's one of the things that I like.
Disconnect everybody.
IT 101.
Disconnect everybody. I say you're all out, and I go up. You know, like you're all out, and then they go like the kids go, "What's going on?" No internet for you tonight.
Everybody out.
Off here.
I think that's one of the things I liked about the stories you let me read was the fact that you don't see the ending coming. Even if you like you were saying you were leading them into the endings. When I got to the ending, I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting this. Especially your daughter's book. I did not see that coming at all.
It is there.
Whoa, okay.
There are hints everywhere, you know, and to be honest, her book, I did not contribute anything to the story. She did everything herself. All I did, though, she gives me credit as an editor for her. What I worked with her was pace, making sure the panels were flowing in the right way, and that it was good, like reading everything, making sure everything. And even then, I think we have a typo in there. I already told John we got to fix it before we print it out. But she did it all herself. She had all the characters out, and there's things that people will not notice immediately, even if you go back, because she did it so subtly that even I didn't pick up on it until she told me, you know, this character is this character represents this. I'm like, whoa, okay. So you really got to look at the really tiny details in there. And I think, and it's one of the things, without revealing it, is that I spoke to the creator and said, my daughter's going in this direction. Are we cool with it for this book? And he was like, yes, absolutely. I said, all right, let's go. And I'm very proud of what she did. And like I said, she was able at that age on some of those pages capture so much emotion. It's not even funny, man. And there's like that page where the reveal of the dress and everything it's just fantastic. I literally wept when I saw it because I was so proud of her, because it really kept, I think, man, she did it. And it's just one of those things I'm just like gushing over it, because it's like having her with me in the same book, you know, that's a parent's dream, man. It's like,
that's awesome.
Not for her, but it's like, but the funny thing, she got into an anthology recently that I didn't get into. And
nice.
And the reason, and I told her, you know, go low, because she didn't want to do anything. And I said, just what will you feel comfortable doing? Pinup. Propose a pinup. I'll bet you'll get in. She got in. And she did it. And it's great. What she did was a pinup of a steampunk robot in a 50s style perfume ad. It's fantastic. It is just, it's like, it's totally way off the wall. And it's, well, she sent it in as the anthology, and then she goes like, you know what? I can actually send this in as a homework. I'm going,
and that's not like homework.
You know, you would think, oh, send it to a magazine. No, I'll send it as part of my homework for the class. And like,
that is totally FIT. So
yeah. So yeah, she is going to FIT now. So it's like, but she's still in high school, man. She's still doing, but her teacher is Peter Scallon. He worked for Marvel for many years. He did all these masterwork cards for many years. The famous poster of Spider-Man running down the wall on that card, that's her teacher. So it's like, I'm like, well, you're getting caught. And I mean, I geeked out when I met him. Hey, I had your poster, man. It's like, it's funny. And I mean, in my case, I had to learn it all myself. I had to sit down and look at Buscema, Kirby, you know, John Byrne, and try to copy over them, trace over them to learn, because there was just not, in my time, there was nothing, you know. Now you go online, you got a video for everything. You're like, oh, my daughter says, go on YouTube and find out. I don't want to do that, you know. Let me figure it out myself. You know? Hey, Johnny, you're back, Johnny.
Now that John's back, I can ask you, because, you know, I've had a chance to read your book.
Start over.
And it's an amazing book. It was an amazing series of books. And I like the epic feel to it. I like how the story is this epic thing, and you can see that you're coming along for this epic ride, and all the bits and pieces are coming together, and it feels like an RPG. Like we were talking about, if it would have been a video game, I'm like, I can see this totally as an RPG. I can see, you know, the character going through the dwarves world, picking up her characters, her her fellow heroes, and just moving on to the rest of the story. It really does have that feel of an epic story.
Right. Some of my favorite stories are Alice in Wonderland, Snow White, Lord of the Rings, type thing. So that's what's always, that's in my DNA, and that's kind of my inspiration on the epic stories. And I'm doing this to inspire people and kids is my idea. So I try to make everything wonderful and fantastic and true to how I wish the world was and how we treated each other. Yeah, it's kind of like one of my favorite animated shows was the Avatar, The Last Airbender. And that show for me was really all about friendship, how to treat your friends and how you work things out. And so that's always also another big inspiration in this fantasy thing. But the biggest one, Star Wars, of course. You know, I got to the point in my life and I love Star Wars. I know everything about it from a creative point of view, where the ideas originated and the design aspects, the inspiration for that came. I don't know what planet anyone's from or any of those cultural things, but I know where they got the ideas for those characters. And then you get to a point is like, well, where's my Star Wars? You know, I've been consuming for so long. It's time to be a producer and produce something wonderful the way George Lucas did and Jim Henson and those people. And so, you know, I got to Comic-Con for, 20 years and then finally realized, I shouldn't be walking in the hallways. I should have a spot for myself. And so those are some of the goals and some of the flavor I try to put in my writing. Like Jim Henson, he would do fantastic things and so noble of ideas. He'd walk into the writing room and say, let's do something that's going to change the world and bring peace to the Middle East. And everyone's like, what? Ha! And he would do it. He created shows that were the catalysts for those things and the catalyst for wonderfulness. So those are my inspiration. That's why I love the epic backgrounds and the characters and the heart and the relationships with each other. So that's what's going through my little gray matter as I'm doing these things.
You can definitely feel it. You can feel, especially the friendship aspect of things. As I'm reading the story, you can see how that's becoming more and more important to the story. The friendship that these characters have with each other and what they're doing and how they're moving forward and why it's important and how they're going to get to where they're going to get because they're friends.
Well, that's the one of the secrets of life is your friends and how you relate to them, and it's very, very important. And this is some of the lessons I want to carry through this thing. And it's like Snow White. She had she's no powers. Her superpower, I consider her a superhero, was how she treated people. These weird little guys in the forest, she found them and she treated them like gold and treated them great. And they all became her friends. And the huntsman who was going to, kill her and take her heart. But she was so kind to him and so he couldn't do it. Right. And to her winning without, really lifting a finger. Is her relationship, and that's the power I think women have, is their cunning, their intelligence, their relationship building, things like that. And so that's what I'm putting in mind, because we have enough kick-ass. I love the kick-ass superhero heroines, but in mine, I'm like, no, she's going to win because of the good things she's done early on.
And you can see that as your story progresses, you can see that. You know, I know I like when somebody shows back up in the story after she's met them and made friends with them, and you're like, oh, I see. So she met them over there, and now they're over here, and I like connecting those dots.
Right. It's like putting light through a crystal. You know, they found out there's some new physics that when you put light through a crystal, it intermingles and crosses each other and becomes something different. And so those are kind of what I'm weaving throughout my story in between these wonderful, fantastic scenes that I'm trying to do.
I love the logo.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. Every time I see it, like on my feed, I'm like, that thing is dope. What an eye-catching piece.
Well, I wanted it to be special, but also I'm a toy designer, and so I work in the toy industry.
Hey, me too.
And so I also wanted it to be these are the top brands in the world from a business point of view. Pokemon's number one. Star Wars, Harry Potter. How will my brand fit with these wonderful brands? And so that's those are some of the things I'm thinking about as I'm doing it. But it's that the letters are interlocked, like the characters and their ideas and their relationships. And I chose a word that's kind of difficult to say and figure out, because once you learn it, it's empowering. And even reading it, it starts off a little easy and then gets a little more tangled.
Yeah.
It's empowering. Once you know it, though, people are like, what is that? But once they know it, it's empowering. Oh, it's Dweors. And they get to say it, which I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's why he never changed his name. When I was in 7th grade, I saw him interviewed on the Mike Douglas show, and he said, you have to change your name. No one can say. He said, no. He's a very intelligent guy. He says, once they learn my name, they'll know it forever.
Yep.
And I'm like, and I never forgot that. And so that's some of the philosophy I put into my branding on this.
And it's a fun name, it's fun to say.
It's genius.
Yeah. It's fun to say. It's fun to look at. It just stands out at you. When the reason I was able to see your stuff on the Comixology page was because I know I know the title when I see it. And I'm like, there it is. And it was going pretty quick. And I was like, look, you're on the Comixology page, on the commercial for them. And I'm like, all right.
I didn't know till you told me, and people started saying it. I go, I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I spent all my time just creating, and I'm horrible at the other parts of it. So
yeah, me too.
But right, so it takes such an effort. People have making a comic will kill you. It's so much work, especially when you're one man shop. It's an unbelievable amount of work that will pushes me to my limits every time I do one. I'm ready to crack by the end of it because I've worked so many long hours and thought about it so much. I felt like crying. I'm typing and I have to delete a line. I'd be so overtired. I would get so sad that I was destroying that text and it didn't exist anymore, which is ridiculous. Oh my God, that period is gone and it's my fault. That I get that.
You killed the period. No,
I killed a period. So yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I go in 100% anything I do, and
you can see it.
These take all my effort. I think
I
really think about everything.
What are you saying, Rob?
And then at the end of it, you can't help but start another one.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I have half of the next one's story in my mind by that, and they all dovetail together. I got to do the next one. I got to do the next one. And, especially when you're trying to do an epic story, I go, I've got a lot more books before I get to this end of this arc. I always planned out like a 5-year story arc, and, it's a little bit longer, but taking a little bit longer. But yeah, it's something. Keeps you out of trouble. Keeps you out of
It's
trouble.
so funny. Like I was saying, the story, the aspects of writing that we're all doing here are very similar. Yet we have such distinctly different stories here. My Hugbert story is completely different than John's Dwarf story. John's Dwarf story is completely different than Rob's Pinguino's Revenge story. Rob's Pinguino's Revenge story is completely different than Enrique's fairy tale story. And yet these aspects that we have that are similar, you'd think that there would be some kind of similarities in our stories, but there aren't.
And that's what makes it all so worth it, because if we were all the same, it'd be pretty boring.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we all basically look at the ones who came before us, even all the way back to the first Superman, the first Batman, and Spider-Man stuff. We all look at that and go like, what can we do? Because the story they're telling, it's similar to everything we can do today. It's like what can you do about this being that comes down from another plane of existence or something to help us save us? You can go, well, that's in the Bible, and that's a Superman. That could be Icon. That could be so many different characters nowadays. But it's the uniqueness of how every person who tries to give it its own voice, that it's where it comes out to be unique, but when you come up with something totally off the wall and it's great, like in the case of the Pinguino, it's like, who would have thought of like these little like penguins that you see on TV? Oh, they're so cute. But yeah, this one is a badass best. He's gonna cut your throat out.
I can't wait to read that book. It looks so fun, and I love the art so much. Yeah, I can't wait to get hold of one of those.
I want to do a real thing that John permitted me to do, and it's like I'll show it up real quick. John was on my show not too long ago, and so I was able to produce these. I love because like they got the logo there as well. I'm gonna put them up there, shining off there. This other, you can see a little better now. This is one thing.
It's amazing.
That's actually colored by Becky Fuller, and then on the back I decided to put my inks on.
She's great.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful, man.
And then the one that started it all with me and John was this one, the Picasso.
I love the character design. It's so
my god, they're so great. Yeah,
and it's fun. And then obviously I did this one live with him when we're on the show, and then Becky did the colors on that, and it was funny because that is like that inking there was the record of mine ever selling an ink, because they was like, as soon as it was done, John was sending me a note saying, somebody wants to buy it. And I'm like, what you talking about? We just finished it. They're like, yeah, but somebody wants to buy it, and they want to buy my pencils. And I go like, and it was Becky. She actually bought them all because she wanted to color it and put them all three together in one frame. The pencils, the inks, and the colors next to each other. So, and she's the girlfriend for Shannon Mayer, who does all these fantastic covers. So I'm like, hey, this is where look where we're at this household. All the paintings this guy does, and we're gonna have us there. That's pretty cool.
Becky's a fabulous colorist. I love her eye for color. It's just amazing. And it felt like a done deal when she did the dwarves. And one of the things that it's funny, because I read the black and white ones, and I've seen the color ones. And, when the color comes into the black and white ones, it's almost like your universe is being expanded. You're like, whoa, look at those beautiful colors. And it's funny because as I was reading the wars, I felt like the colors were already there even when there was black and white. So that's a testament to you, John.
Nice. Thank you.
Because to me, even when I see the black and whites, I see the colors.
Right. Thank you. That's a wonderful compliment. I appreciate that.
Well, if I'm seeing water
part
towers,
of the energy. Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I've gotten to the point where when I would walk to lunch from work, I would see dweors following me and walking on fences and climbing. I could really see them. And I would just watch them to kind of learn their personalities of what they're doing. I learned to visualize them that much, where I could actually see them running around in the world. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's
once you train your mind, you could do that. And like I said before, I learned that from Bob Hoskins, the guy that played in Roger Rabbit. He was able to do that. And I heard him talk about that in an interview, how the weasels were with him everywhere he went. And he could visualize him. And I'm like, how could you do that? And I couldn't do it at the time.
Characters to have with you everywhere you go.
Oh my!
All the characters
it's like the Three Stooges following you around.
Yeah,
screwing everything up.
Yeah, but stop laughing.
But that means I think that's probably why for you. And then when we read Dweors, we feel that this world is real because in your mind it is real. You know, you live it literally, and that's probably the best thing a writer can achieve. In that you really can feel the emotion of that, and you can convey it and then project it to the reader. Now, of course, if you're doing some slasher horror stuff, maybe a little worrying stuff to actually be seeing this kind of stuff around you all the time. But like I said, you know, the inspiration for me sometimes comes from really weird places, and sometimes there's real life. Like the story for Horrendous, you got this guy walking out of his home and he's encountering spiders at different moments of the day and of the story. That actually happened to me. You know, I actually walking out and there's spiders and what the hell is this crap? It's like, and they were always there every day. They would come out, and it was like, oh, their webs are crossing my car. Like, that's where the inspiration comes. I got to write about this, and that's why. And the story, actually, the house in my story is actually our house. I drew it, you know, and that's one of the craziest things I do once in a while. I actually do that one panel. I felt that it was so important in the story. I actually did it 11 by 17. I still have it around. I've got it. The artwork is back there. I did a full rendering of the house, and that goes back to my advertising days when I used to do the renderings for architectural projects. Now we would like visualize how it's going to look, you know, and they're talking like this was a book. Then I would draw it for the brochures. So I went to that old stuff I used to do. So yeah, it just depends, man. It's like, I mean, I would be kind of scared if some of the stuff I think about shows up around the corner. We are sort of like a little more cuter, you know. I might go with that, you know.
I don't know, man. The water tower I saw was epic, and that thing was like pretty come down and grab me. It's funny though. It's funny because Traveling Root Beer here says when I write, I don't just create characters, I become them, and it's pretty much what we're doing here. You know, we become the characters we're creating. You know, and we're trying to tell their stories as we see these stories that we're looking at. You know, I know, and Bob Hoskins is right. When you're doing this stuff, I have characters that stick around me all the time and start talking to me, and they're like, "Dude, you need to tell my story," and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to stop, and I keep bothering you until you tell my story. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, depending on the character.
Hey man, it's crazier to ignore the voices in your head than to pretend they're not there.
Exactly. And Robert, I have to say, your Pinguino character is just like, you know, it's not just the fact that you created this fantastic story. You have this amazing art to back it up. It could have been Pinguino's Revenge, and it would have been this mediocre thing, you know, with no stylized atmosphere to it. But you actually sit there and you let whatever's in your mind rush onto the paper and become alive.
Yeah, that was one of the obstacles when I was first trying to come up with a comic, because I didn't, you know, when you're first starting from scratch and you've never done something like this before, you don't know where to start. So the first thing I was like, if I'm going to create a comic character and I'm going to create a story and I want it to be something iconic, it's got to be simple. So I came up with a cool cartoony style. I'm like, now what can I do with this? I can make it gory. I can make it adult humor. I could give it a lot of foul language. I could give him a whole lot of personality, and I could add some characters that go along with him for the journey as he meets them. And it could be just a blood fest of comedy and gore. And that's where I went with it. And then I was like, I need to come up with characters. And I'm going to show you right now the first horrible sketch of Pinguino.
Oh boy.
Like,
See that.
you know when you're designing a character, like you have its stages. Like the first stage looks completely ridiculous.
Exactly.
All right, let me see if I can pull it up here. Just give me one moment.
All right, no problem. But I completely understand, because I've even when as a writer, as you're fleshing out a character, for the first time you create the character and the end result of the character are two totally different things. You know, the first time he's so 2D that you're like, what the heck was I thinking? Oh, it's still badass, bro.
Man, that's dope as
I
anything.
know,
Kidding me?
it's
Come on, give me a. Yo, man, when Rob posts anything, he's like, "Oh, look at this, it's garbage."
Look
or
at-
something.
yeah, look at this
It's
piece of
like the
crap.
sickest thing I've ever seen.
All right. Well,
I know, it's awesome.
for an example, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here.
Well, there's something Pinguino, the name, the characters. It just there's something special about what's going on, and the way you do it all. I mean, just just awesome.
How do you see that? How do you see that? And not
awesome.
want to know more?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know.
And I love all you
Just
guys.
Great.
Pinguino speaks to me, man. Violent penguin. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Rob, you know Pinguino speaks to me. So.
I feel you, bro. Thank you.
Oh man, it's amazing. Well, you know, he was supposed to be here. He wasn't able to get here, but I do want to talk about tragedy a little bit. I'm going to put up the. Let's see. I think I have it over here. Let's see who gets it first. Will it be Shadow Rabbit or me? All right.
I got it. I know.
There we go. So, you know, let me just let this play so he can explain it to us himself.
They took away all I held dear. They stole my
Unmute yourself, Ralf.
Sorry about that.
No, I was wondering what would happen too.
Honor in her journey to self-discovery as she battles her own inner demons as well as the mob. Her greatest battle will be against the enemy within. Will she finally find peace, or will they all rest in peace?
Hi, my name is Phillip Russertt, and I am the writer and creator of Tragedy. Tragedy is a gritty, action-packed character study of a young woman who feels trapped in a life she doesn't want. Readers will follow her journey of self-discovery while experiencing intense action scenes that last for pages. I'm proud of this book and the amazing talent attached to it. We have Will Spatasio, Ian Churchill, Larry Stroman, Sean Chen, Delso Corona, Keith Williams, and more. Ricardo Silva and Sigmund Torrey bring the pages to life. I feel strongly that if you back this campaign, you won't be disappointed. Thank you for taking a look at my book, Tragedy, and I hope you enjoy the experience.
And he, you know, I've read I've gotten a chance to read the issues that he has, and he's an amazing storyteller. Again, it's another one of those moments where I like the fact that you can do a story, and it's a story that's probably been done a bunch of times, yet you can surprise me as I'm reading the story. And he, the first issue alone surprises the heck out of me. The ending to the first issue, and I tell people, this is the issue you want to jump in on, you want to get, because the ending to that first issue, I didn't see coming. I was completely surprised by what he did, and I was like, whoa, where do you go from that? How you just kicked it up a notch. How do you improve? How do you go beyond that? And I like his writing style. I really do feel like it's organic. It leads, instead of like being led through the story. You're going with him on this epic journey of this character and the other characters in it, because you get to know not just the main character, but all the other characters as you go on through the story, and you get to know all the bits and pieces of all the nuances of all the characters that have something to do with the story. And that's just difficult to do, first of all, and it's amazing writing.
Yeah, I agree. I read up to I think it was chapter 12 I was able to read, and it was amazing. I was really impressed. And luckily, he wanted to take me on to do cross-promotion between Tragedy and Pinguino's Revenge. So if you back both, you get this killer print. So you get one side from his backing, and you get one side of it from my backing, and you get them both together, and it's Pinguino and Tragedy together with a huge dragon in the background, and it's insane.
That's amazing. Awesome. I can actually show a little bit of it here. Hold on. Ooh, wrong one. There we go. Yeah, there's the one side of it, which is the Pinguino side of it, right?
I'll pull up the whole thing.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it was an awesome project to work on too.
And dude, you do awesome dragons, man.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yo, I like your cover. I mean, everything.
Oof, sick. That is beautiful.
That's what you get when you back both.
Yeah.
That is an amazing piece of art. Yeah.
And I've read, like I said, I read up to, I think it was chapter 12. And like you said, Ralph, the way he delves into the characters, all the different types of characters who you think is just another background character.
Exactly.
Turns into something so much more, and you have no idea.
You don't see it coming.
Oh my God. That kind of writing is it's almost masterful. And I try to tell him that. And I was really hoping he was going to be here tonight so I could pick his brain about it a little bit.
Oh, that's one of the reasons I wanted all of you guys here, was because, I love this style that you guys all have. And it's so different. It's similar, but it's different. And we're all at this point where we're actually starting out as writers, yet we're moving along and we're becoming better writers. And we're all at some point of this journey of becoming better writers. And that's what the show is about. The Written Writ's all about this journey to become better writers, right, and helping each other out. And I feel like when you talk about writing, it really helps writers, old writers, new writers, every kind of writer, because, sometimes we as writers get stuck in our own heads.
Absolutely.
And that really messes us up.
Yeah. And as artists too, it's a form of artistry.
Yeah.
Creative thinking, creative writing and drawing. It's all utilizing the same part of the brain, coming up with these worlds in your mind and fleshing them out.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah, and it can be a real challenge, especially when you have the family life and work life and everything else going on, to try and turn everything off just so you could focus. That's why it's great, like you said, the drive. Put on some epic music or movie trailer music kind of thing, and just try and delve into what the world would look like, get a peek.
Exactly.
Right. And then you don't realize that you're already home after 45 minutes. It's time travel.
How did I get here?
Yeah.
I don't drive like you guys do, but my walks are that kind of a process. I like walking. And
walking helps too. It gets the blood flowing to the brain and everything. It really helps.
And one of the bad things is that sometimes you walk past your destination point because you're in thought of the story that you have in your head.
Yeah, that happens to me.
So what's on the playlist with you guys?
Oh, that's a good question. What's on your playlist?
What's on the playlist? I use Spotify, so I have 100 playlists.
Fair enough.
I have to admit you're right, because I've heard a couple of your playlists as we will look at the art.
And it's always different. It's
This
always
is the latest. I picked this one up. The Blackberry Smoke, the latest one. We Hear Georgia. This is absolutely great. And of course, I listened to it on vinyl. And, and this other one is really. This is
Nice.
another. This is really good. If you want to hear, you can probably find this on Spotify. Robert John and the Wreck. This is really, really epic. I love it. It's a lot of. If you love a little bit of mixing with country and alternative rock, this is pretty much your beef. This is really cool. I like this a lot.
Nice.
John, what's on your
I'm a
playlist?
little bit more insane, I think. I love the Gorillas because of the worlds they paint in my mind, but I'll listen to one song on a loop for maybe, I don't know, 7 months over and over and over and over. I just because I'm too analytical for songs. I'm trying to dissect them, but once I do, if I listen to it over and over, I'm just getting the energy from that song, and I don't have to try to understand how they're bringing things in and moving up the scale. I'm not a musician, but but I visualize all of those things, and I'm taking apart their story on how they're creating but if I listen to it over and over for months, I just get the energy from it. So I listened to the Gorillas, a song called Glitter Freeze. I've listened to thousands and thousands of times.
You know, there's a fine line between us becoming mass murderers and doing our art.
yeah.
Right.
And I completely agree with you, because sometimes I'll get obsessed with a certain song that's creating a story in my head. And you know, you don't want to lose that story that's being created in your head. So you'll play it on the loop in the background. And then people go, why are you listening to this song over and over and over?
There's a song that came out not too long ago on CD. I'm waiting for it to come out on vinyl. That I was using it as inspiration while I was writing some of the stories and stuff. I was just keeping that rhythm going, and I actually wrote to the writer of the song, dude, I'm listening to this while I'm doing art and stuff. He was like super blown away by that. It's from a group called the Norse Conspiracy. They're from, I think, Ireland and stuff like that. And the song is called Since You've Been Gone. It's a poignant song of obviously of loss, but the way the phrasing works, you know, since you've been gone, the sun doesn't shine, the sea has no meaning, and the way it flows within the rhythm, I think I gotta find a way to take that into my rhythm of my song, of the story. How can I make that move? Because you've heard 100 songs of being lost and having lost a person, but this was like really a unique take on it that I not heard before, and the timing of it. So I was like, yeah, I like this stuff, you know. So every once in a while, that one I have on a loop, and it got to the point that Spotify says, you know, it's your number one song, bro. Here it is. You know, on top of your list every time. Here it is. We know you're gonna play it today. Here you go. Go at it. So I wanted to go because I gotta go real quick. I'm really beat up. So
no problem, bro.
I wanted to show
tell the audience, you know, just so we can wrap you up and you can go. Tell the audience what they need to know, where they can find the Kickstarter, whatever your last words. There you go.
No, don't say last words, man. I don't want to die. You know, give it the last rites, man. No, not yet. I got to move into my new house. Not yet. No, we're building a new house, so it's going to be like a nice little. Finally, got a decent studio, so maybe by then. Well, you can find me. I can't. Can I even post something here? Can I write something? No, I cannot. So,
when you get a chance, you can post it on the page itself. Yeah.
Let me go over here and bam.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, dude, you just use the Messenger as your own personal thing, because you know people are going to look at that anyway as they're watching the video.
Yeah, I'm up here on my. I'm going to send it to you guys. So up here, you got my Instagram right there. That's the best way to find all my stuff. I just sent you guys my link tree where you can get there's the connection to the Kickstarter, to my portfolio, to my my comic book creator directory, and all that kind of stuff. So that's where you can find me. This weekend, I'm going to be at Garden State Comic Fest. since from Friday I'm going to be next to Keith Williams and to Phil Russertt. We're actually going to in one line, and Scott Hanna's on the corner.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be there.
I like Garden State. I'm trying to see if I'm going to go or not. I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, now you have to go because I'm there. So you got to go. But so that's where I'm going to be this weekend. I'm going to have, if you're a VIP, you'll be getting a little card that I'm going to be in their packs. You're going to get this card with the Jocko character on it.
There you go. Go ahead. Show it.
Okay, you're going to have that. It's a nice card.
Oh, the Jocko. Yeah, I love that story.
And
wait. Is that the beginning of something? Because it felt like the beginning of something.
I already approached John, who did the drawings with me, that I presented already a second chapter. And we're going to bring in a female character as well.
That makes complete sense.
So, and to give to entice people, like little tease, here's the, we did this on an idea. I told John, let's do this idea. And it's the character Jocko with tentacles coming out. It looks pretty cool until I decided, let me add some color.
Ooh, much better.
And then I created an homage to the Akira.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it went so far as to I did the same type. And down here it says, instead of being script, it says let's see, you see screenwriter, cinematography is the John, special effects is Sigmund, directed by me. It's like, so this will be at the show as well. Only 8 of them I produced. Only produced 8 of them. So that's where you guys can find me. And to let you off to know how long I've been trying to get in to do all this stuff. I found it the other day. It's like we talk about how much we have to prepare to get ready.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This was from March 10th, 1994, a comic book proposal, and look to whom I was meeting with.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the dream, man.
And then I met with them, and page 1 is the proposal, and I start with the character, and then I went into the backup characters, and then I went into the first. I have 20 issues planned out, the annual, and then I had this whole page over here. This actually was all the issues, where what the next issues were coming out, where the mini series were going to come out, where everything was going there, and how it was going to work. And I still got no. I mean, I couldn't give it to them even easy. And it was not like a fact that's like, they told me, dude, it's really cool. We're not the company for it at that moment. Okay, that moment they were still thinking about going with their own universe, and that's when they launched. There it is. Yeah, I've seen that. Nice. Yeah,
I forgot you did that one, Rob.
Yeah.
And they were launching the universe that eventually had barbed wire in it.
Right, I remember.
And all those.
That was a good universe.
Yeah. So I was hoping to bring in this story to that, and they were like, no, not for now. But it's one of the things is that now I'm actually trying to get one of those stories produced, just to see if it can go into the annual one, which is more like the story has a moment that I knew that there was going to be an event that changed everything. So that story is going to take years after that original event. That there's been some aftermath to it. And I thought, that might be an interesting jump on point because the character will be a lot older. He won't be as athletic he was as before. But the funny thing, looking at that script, there's so many things because I wrote that in '94. Well, if people don't, most of you guys are, well, except maybe John, he might remember this. That's the era of the fax. There was nothing. That was the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
So now I've got to do all these little cosmetic lookings, like the visuals, like now handheld stuff. I was like, the guy was putting up bulletin boards and paper. Now it'll be like electronic stuff for wanted posters and stuff. Because there's a sci-fi story, so now I have to up the technology, which is more than 20 years, 30 years almost previous now. So that's what I have to reworking now. That's what was used to be science fiction is now science fact. So it's interesting. Like, for example, there's characters and they're smoking. Well, maybe they're vaping now. So it's like, so I got to switch it all around. So it's one of those things that I'm looking at, and another story I'm looking at. So, I mean, I'm not. It's just what hopeful. But again, like I'm very lucky, very fortunate to be in these, surrounded by all you guys. You know, allowed to be in this stuff, and I honestly have a lot of work that I'm going to be doing after this. Now that this anthology is out, I got another one. I'm doing 2 stories for Joe Critelli and Len Danovich are going to be artists with me.
Right.
Then I got another one coming out further down that I'm going to be doing 1 story I'm writing, and then I'm being asked to do art for 2 of them. And then I have a 1-pager coming out in another anthology we'll be launching, I think, next month. And I finished these sketch cards, which are launching, I think, in a few weeks. So I'm very lucky. You know, I'm very lucky that it's been happening. And it's just one of those things. And I know that John and I eventually are going to get something done. You know, we're working towards something eventually. I'm just trying to convince Robert to do something with me, you know. When he has the time, You know. But I had this idea that you're so perfect for it. When I saw your character, the style worked because I've been looking for somebody with this style for a concept, because I have this big 3-part novel. I did the 3 novels in the 80s, and they're all written. And the funny thing is that, so there's a story. I want to do this like little graphic novel that has like these stories from different eras within the frame. And there's one story with characters that I think would be your style, would be perfect. I think Ray Acevedo wants to do another one. And I'm looking to add some of these more stories. And I keep bumping into people, man. It's like, and like I know, oh man, I like this guy's style, this lady's style. And all of a sudden this project is actually could be done in 2023. You never know. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be another Kickstarter out there soon. So thanks a lot, guys. I'm really tired. I really wish I could be here longer, but I'm just.
Enrique, don't worry about it. Get some sleep, get some rest. You've been busy today. Hopefully your thing will fund soon. It looks like it's going in a good direction.
Well, since we've been on here, let me see. Let me do a quick refresh. We've added 5 new. So
there you go. See, the written writ helps people.
Wow.
There we go. Something helped.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You all. I'll talk to you all later. See you all later. John, Rob, Ralph, and Shadow. Appreciate it, man. Hey, man, I need to talk to you, man, because I want a little figure done. We'll talk to you later about that.
You know where to find me, brother.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great night.
See ya.
Good to see you, man.
And then there were 4. Oh, excuse me. Lost it there.
John, are you also drinking out of a Dewar's coffee cup?
I'm drinking out of the skull of Chewbacca. This is my 1977
Nice.
Star Wars mug.
I saw you lift it up real quick.
This is where I get my power from.
No wonder, man. I felt like you were going, ah!
Yeah. He's my favorite. Him and R2-D2 are my favorite 2 characters in the Star Wars universe. So I had to have and this is what George Lucas drinks his coffee out of, this 77 mug. And like, okay, if it's good enough for George, I need to track one down and get one. So that's why it's my good luck charm.
See, Robert, you're going in the good direction. You already have your Pinguino mug.
You chose wisely.
That thing is badass, man.
Am I eating this weekend, or am I getting that Pinguino mug? I'm getting that Pinguino mug.
Exactly. The shot glasses are nice enough, but the freaking Pinguino mug.
Oh, man, these shot glasses kill. I already drank out of them, so they're a little stained.
Oh, those are just badass. Look at that.
And then I have the other one.
Oh, wow.
And that's part of one of your tiers,
Nice.
right?
Yeah, it's part of the tier. And with the tier, you also get a special print that's only going to be available with the Kickstarter. And I just finished it the other day. So I'll be happy to show it to you guys.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I like all these exclusives you're giving us.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's see where we at.
Oh, I love watching you on the TikTok and when you're doing all your stuff, even though it gets kind of hard to say anything to you on your feed.
Yeah, it gets crowded. Let's see if I can turn this right.
Oh yeah, I saw this one. I like when you did it in 3D.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic, man.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
It was like a fun car ride, a fun trip across country.
Yeah. I like doing snapshots of the four main characters, like doing some crazy shit together. You know, I like coming up with stuff like that.
Oh, I love the other one you did where they're at the bar.
Yeah, I got that one right here.
Yeah, they look like they're having so much fun. Look at that. Oh, that is a great hangout, man.
Can I ask what program you're using there?
This is Procreate on the iPad.
That's free to use for all you out there, I think.
No, it's $30.
Okay.
I think it's 30. But that's it. After that, you get all the free updates and everything. So
pretty much, that's pretty decent because, you know, a lot of these you have to buy and then you have to pay.
Compared to how powerful it is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I can fake stuff that I would do in Photoshop in Procreate. Even though Procreate doesn't technically have that accessibility, it does enough where I can make it look like it does, you know? Like the lens flare and the lights and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I have to admit, when I see your pieces, it just has this picture quality to it. You know, which also gives you that another edge to your art.
Thank you. Yeah, and I've been trying to do some different techniques that I've been watching on YouTube along the way. You know?
I have to admit, like with you, it's interesting to see because I can actually see your improvement from piece to piece.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, we lost John again.
Yep, there you go.
I saw John messing with stuff. So I was like, we're gonna lose him for a minute. Oh, but I tell you, bro, I really when I did my promo for you, I was like, I want my volume 2, so buy volume 1.
yeah, I heard that. I was laughing. I was laying in bed watching it, and I was laughing. I was like, this guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep selling volume 1 until I get my volume 2. See, I know what's coming, people, and that's what I'm telling you. Ooh, yeah, John turned into a voice.
I can give you a little sneaky peek if you want. So here's the cover art for issue 1, volume 2.
Oh, look how beautiful. When I got the preview, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing.
Filthy, man.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to get started on this. I already did issue 1 for it, and as an artist, it's hard to come out. It's hard to say that something came out exactly the way you wanted, and right. I want to say that it worked with this one. And I'm just hoping that I can keep that momentum with the rest of the issues along the way. You know, it's hard because the way my work is broken up with everything that I've got going on now, and it's when you stop the creative process in the middle of it, you could lose momentum.
Oh, you can.
Back of where you were going with it, like it's like starting from scratch all over again.
I completely feel you because that's what's happened to me a couple times where I'll just dive into something, start working on it. You build up this momentum, it's going, it's really coming across, and then you have to stop it for one reason or another, and then coming back to it, it's like coming back to exercising.
Yeah, or it feels like a stranger because you're like, exactly. I don't remember doing this. Like, I don't remember putting that there. Like, why would I do that? That's dumb. You know?
It happened to me with Hugbert because I was working on Hugbert, and I got to a certain point where I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And then I came back and I go, why was I doing this? And that is not good because it's like you lost half your work. Even if I had all the notes and I looked at all the notes, it just didn't have that momentum like you were saying.
Right. And I don't know if I've shown you this. Maybe I have. This is the last thing. I'll stop talking. But
Oh, that is
Yeah.
beautiful. Oof.
that's this is Cataclysm and his buddy Manic.
Mhm.
And they're demons from hell, and they're just trying to take a vacation. But in the process, they inadvertently cause the apocalypse.
I like that. I remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
So that's a project that's one of those things where I haven't touched in months, and I don't even remember where I left off at, and I need to like go reread my notes and like try and delve myself into my own story, which I've completely forgotten about. That's how long it's been since I touched it.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. You lose the momentum. You lose that whole because and then it gets. Oh, there's John. Hold on, he's back with his picture.
Liar.
As I was saying,
Hooray.
there you go.
There he is.
You lose that momentum,
Internet's
and
not
then
cooperating.
I can tell. It's funny. I thought with Enrique gone, your connection would be better.
Yeah.
Well, John, don't worry too much.
Yeah,
We're getting
miss
close to the
it.
end of the show.
But we're glad you're back.
Okay.
Yes, we are. So, on that note, let's do the last word thing. Robert, you start.
My name is Rob Powers. I'm a freelance illustrator and graphic designer, and I created a comic book that took me 3.5 years to make, 200 full color pages, and I put my heart and soul into this guy. If you like gratuitous violence, adult humor, and adult language, check this out. And click the link, subscribe, or pledge, right? That's the right word to use?
Yeah,
Pledge this guy, man.
And if you can't pledge, you could share it out, which is just as important as pledging,
is.
I promise. So thank
It's
you
very
guys so
important.
much for your support. And thank you guys for your support as well. It's pretty awesome to have fellow creatives really be invested in your project. It's really awesome.
I still love your wife's cover. It is amazing. It's the
Yeah,
one I
she
picked.
Killed it.
Oh my
She
god!
did the logo for Tragedy too. Well, like I did
Well,
the
the 3D
initial.
logo is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So she knows what she's doing. That's for sure.
You guys are a power team, man.
Yeah,
Thank
you guys are
so
our
much.
team.
Thank-
Is she okay?
yeah, she's good. She's resting now. The babies are asleep, so she can be asleep. You know.
That's good. That's important. All right, John, it is your turn. What is your last word over there?
Well, everyone stay creative. Check out the Dweors if you get a chance on Amazon. Hopefully you like my little story.
There you go.
It's so hard to do,
And-
isn't it?
It's awesome.
I know. I've gotten used to doing it, but it's so hard to put the book in the right place.
Right. And so, everyone use your creativity. Even if you're not an artist, it's super important. It'll enrich your life. It'll make you a better problem solver. You'll enjoy the world better, even if you're doodling little things. So it's important. It gets left behind in 5th grade by so many people, but pick up the pencil and you'll see the world in a richer way once you start drawing. So that's my final words.
Those are good final words.
Good word. Good word.
Shadow Rabbit, what is your final word?
I'm just riding in the wake of people who've said it well. Go out there, be your weird self. Try to leave the world a little better than you found it.
And where else can we find you this week?
I am on Traveling Root Beer on Friday and Tuesdays. Right here on Writ. Lost in Comics Thursdays. Spine Ticks on Saturday.
Yeah, Mr. Shadow Rabbit's very busy. And on top of that, you're still doing all your sculptures. I saw the most recent one on Instagram, and dude, you're killing it again.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. I love
Appreciate you guys.
the Batman. The armored Batman came out sick. Dude.
Oh, thanks, bro. That means the world to me. Thank you. Yeah, like you were saying. I mean, yeah, I always think my stuff could be better, and after I've made it, I'm like, ah, man, why didn't I do this?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
I
keeps
love
you
the
going.
direction-
We all
I
do
love the
that.
direction you're going in now. With the glowing, the lights, the LEDs. It just adds to your sculpture.
Thanks, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you guys are feeling about getting out to cons again, but I'm starting to get ready. So we'll see. See how everyone's doing. Everyone's playing well, and maybe get back to them this summer.
Yeah,
what I'm
I
hoping.
moved to North Carolina, so I got to sniff around and see what's going
Oh,
on.
did you? Oh,
Yeah.
congrats, man.
Thank you.
And you've got a growing family and everything, right?
Yeah, they don't
That's,
stop growing, apparently.
That's awesome, bro. All respect, man.
Thank you.
And John, your cons are beginning to start over there too, but you usually only do San Diego, right?
San Diego's is my show. That's where I have a big full sculptural booth I made myself. But
Awesome.
it's been canceled for 2 years. And so I'm like, oh man, it's killing me. So that's why I started doing, I got invited on some podcasts. And so these are my cons now until things open up. But
See,
I
John,
have Chewbacca with me, so I'm going to be okay.
John, what you need to do now is you need to build your own set. So you can be in the dwarves world, and then you can showcase your dwarves all over the place.
Yes. Oh my God,
Right.
that'd be awesome.
Create a slice of the world. For
Exactly.
people. Right.
That's your project. I want to see it happen.
Yes, sir. Well, I will do that.
Would you consider branching out to any other cons, or San Diego? I mean, that's where it's at. If you can get into it, even
WonderCon. Yeah, San Diego's been really good for me because there's so many professionals there, scouting and things like that. But I'm thinking about WonderCon also because a lot of the scouts, San Diego's become too crazy for them to even walk around. So they're starting to migrate toward WonderCon.
Yeah.
But I would love to do other cons now, but
I know Phil's talked to you about coming
I'm
over
a noob in the I don't know anyone in the business, and I'm a total noob, and so I don't hear about things. I just sit in here alone and draw pictures,
just like all us other artists.
Right. I don't get out. I need to start getting out more.
I know Phil's trying to tempt you to come to New York to do his convention. So if that happens, I can't wait because I would love to meet you in person.
Oh yeah, so would I. I would love to meet you and Phil, and if I ever had the opportunity to do a show, I'd do it in a heartbeat because I'm a big Phil fan.
All right, guys.
So
you see John Ottinger down there. He has a great, fantastic book. You want to check it out? Go to Comixology. You can read the whole series as it is right now. It is an amazing book. Oh, and he has it over here.
Also on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yes, it is. You guys check it out. Dwarves is fantastic. I love my books. I can't get enough of them. And I know that if you guys give it a chance, you will fall in love with it as well. Check out Rob over there. He has his Kickstarter going. It is Pinguino's Revenge. Fantastic Pinguino's Revenge. It is, oh man, you are set up, Mr. Shadow.
Trying, bro.
It is a fantastic book of a kick-ass penguin out for revenge. What else is better than that, man? You got to see this story. The story is amazing. And you're not going to want to miss all these epic fights and battles that Pinguino gets into. And I want volume 2. So get volume 1 done. All right? I can't say that enough.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And of course, check out my friend Shadow Rabbit over there. He is amazing. Commission him to do a piece. He will make your dreams come true. Believe me, he has made my dream come true with my little Hugbert here. And I love showing him off.
That's awesome.
Make my day, man. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
With that, guys, I will let you guys all go. I know we're all tired. I was asleep before this, and I'll probably be asleep. Who am I kidding? I'm not sleeping after this. I'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.
And that's the end of the
See you,
broadcast.
everybody.
Let's see how long it